Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Zodiac Bandit, and today we're going over episode 15 of Critical Role Campaign 3. Bell's Hells, apparently. I didn't comment on that name last week when Imogen used it to somebody because I didn't know if it was going to stick. But now it is. They basically confirm it right at the beginning of the episode. So yeah, Bell's Hells is the name of this troop this time around. It's alright. I don't think it's as natural as the Mighty Nine, and I don't think it'll be as legendary as a name as Vox Machina or as renowned of a name. But I do think it fits. It's still a nice homage to Bertrand Bell, and yeah, they have certainly raised a lot of hell. I mean, their biggest act so far is to destroy the Moon Tower or be a part of the Moon Tower. Technically, they didn't do it, but still. So that is their name now. They're the Bell's Hells, right? Hell's Bells is the song or something, whatever. Either way, this is also the first episode without Dorian and Robbie. This is the first campaign episode without him. If you include EXU, he's done 22 campaign sessions in a row. That is as long as Molly Mock's lifespan in campaign 2, or a few episodes less. Which, seems to be on brand. Get to 20 and it's at a risk. But that's technically a spoiler if you haven't seen campaign 2 yet, is it? Oh well. Everyone knows by this point, I think. So, yeah. It's definitely surreal. Surreal is not the word. It's different looking at the sessions or the episodes and not seeing a player who's been there the whole time. He's got more screen time in the show than Travis so far. Eventually Travis will overtake him, but to not see his face there now, a face that we've seen this whole time, is a little different, a little weird. But it doesn't seem that anything has been lost. Not to say that Robbie's bad or anything like that. I thoroughly enjoyed him, but the whole dynamic hasn't changed. The players are still obviously very good with each other, and there is a bit of a difference with Fern and Orym. They're a bit different. They have to, they were a part of a three, they were a threesome, if you will, and now they have to branch out truly this time and start making more and more stronger connections, which is something that's definitely, Fern's been stepping out more and more, but I think Orym started stepping out of his comfort zone a bit more in this episode as well, reaching for more friendship outside of just the three of them. Up until this point, I felt like with Dorian there, the three of them, I felt fairly confident just being with each other if they have to. But now they're branching out a lot more, I found. That's just something I felt throughout this episode. But to actually get into the episode proper, we start in Lord Esteros' house. They're eating breakfast without him. A little bit of talking happens before they notice him kind of come in, and he sort of stealthily walks in before they start hearing his cane. And then they start discussing with him everything that transpired at the ball. They learn that some people might know who they are and their involvement in the Moon Tower's explosion from Ashton. We learn that a handful of other people are more connected to the Paragon's Call than we initially thought, and how some people were interacting with each other at the ball. Names escape me at the moment. But those are the main things that we've sort of learned about some of the higher-ups, that there is seems to be, and it's more like a confirmation that the higher-ups are trying to create a reason for the Paragon's Call to come in. And that's basically the conclusion they come to at the end of all of this, and they decide whether they're going to stick in the city and kind of deal with that, or if they're going to go to Heartmoor and start dealing with some of the leads for Orym and for Ashton with Jenna Huxham. They agree to go to Jenna Huxham and I think I'm saying that wrong. Jenna Huxon? I don't know. I'm going to keep saying Jenna until someone corrects me. Um, they decide they're going to go to her, so they leave, but almost immediately, as they're trying to make their way through the city, sort of stealthily, they're beginning to get flanked by the Green Seekers, Gus and Ollie. They kind of get, interrupted by them. Like, they start talking, and the Green Seekers take them aside and sort of tell them, hey, you guys, you're suspicious as hell. We've been following a ton of leads, and they all point to you, and you guys were part of two separate groups at the ball that mingled a hell of a lot and are now all staying at the same place. Which, yeah, is very suspicious from an outsider's point of view to look in and see this group of, two different groups of four. I think one of them had five, but two different groups of four sort of interacting with each other a lot and then leaving separately and then coming back to the same place. And now they're together again. And they kind of point out that the Green Seekers have been following a lot of trails that lead directly to them. And the Green Seekers seem to know their involvement in the Moon Tower's explosion, or sort of hint at them potentially knowing that they were there, saying that a group of people described just like them were there that night. Ashton asks if they know about the secret room, and they kind of give in. Yeah, they do know. And it's through this conversation they start building a trust with the Green Seekers. Something I really appreciate from Matt is that instead of continuing with a super heavy politic session, because the last two sessions were super heavy politics, lots of characters, lots of short interactions with high, powerful people, and now we get a more intimate setting with people who are below them, people who are investigating shit going on in the city, more closer to what the party is. I appreciate the step down in these, nobility type characters to a more hardworking group of people in Gus and Ollie. Gus being a half-orc, and I think Ollie was a halfling. I believe it's a halfling. Could be wrong, probably am. They decide that they're going to start working together. They need to build trust more, and they decide instead of going to Heartmoor, they're going to start looking into the Shea Creepers and Lady Emoth. But they need to get into the underground tunnels that the Shea Creepers and Lady Emoth use to kind of go through the city. It's revealed that the Green Seekers know a little bit about all these, things that great Shea Creepers do, and they agree they're going to work together. But the best way to access these tunnels, these hard tunnels, if you will, is to go to the Smolder Spire and enter into the mines. And it seems Gus has some sort of way into the mines from there. It seems that Gus has a connection to a foreman in one of the mines and wants to go down there and kind of use that to get them inside the spires to look for Lady Emoth and the rest of the Shea Creepers and see where they're coming from. The goal is to go in, get something that doesn't explode, and come out to kind of give some sort of evidence to what the party has been saying about these Shea Creepers. So they go, and we are introduced to Ogdus, a half-elf male, who seems to have some sort of hatred for our new friend Gus, and Matt goes on a semi-solo monologue between Gus and Ogdus, where it's sort of revealed throughout that they had a relationship together, and Gus he thought he made it very clear that it was eventually going to end because he had to be part of the Green Seekers, and Ogdus believes that it wasn't very clear, and that, he kind of got done dirty. But through some help with Fern, FCG, and a handful of others inside of the group, they're able to come to some sort of agreement and kind of give the two of them, Gus and Ogdus, a minor therapy session to kind of add some levity to their situation and allow them to get into the mines. Very fun interaction for Matt, kind of having his own little character development with one of his characters that he just introduced to us. So fun bits for him. Eventually, they get Ogdus to agree to take them to where one of the mines has been closed off for some reason. He is unaware why this mine has been closed off, but no one seems to go in, no one seems to come out. So he takes them to the foreman of that mine. The next foreman is Shutan Burrow. He seems to be the foreman for the next sort of mine they have to go to. And this mine is closed. No one's been going in and out of it. And he's kind of locked behind his, little apartment for himself going into this mine. They knock on it. He kind of ignores it at first, but eventually he answers. He comes out holding a book, which Imogen kind of inquires about, and he says, "Don't worry about it." Laudna scares him so bad with a nat 20 that he trips, falls, and knocks himself out. So now they have a few minutes to kind of rummage around his sort of office, and Imogen picks up the book and finds out he's writing some sort of fantasy novel of adventure and whimsiness and everything like that, and apparently it's very bad. He's not a very good writer, unfortunately, but he's trying. Everyone's trying. Not everyone can be a good writer. I'm kind of looking at a mirror right now, I think. But they investigate him a bit more. He's got 30 platinum on him, which is 300 gold. And yeah, that's a lot. So they discover that the rest of the place kind of has nothing in it. And there's no holes to get in and out, so there's no hard tunnels. Nothing. He's literally just in this place. Eventually, they wake him up, and they kind of interrogate him for a bit. Gus begins to break the guy's fingers, kind of to push him forward into giving some information, where he eventually reveals that he was paid by the Treshies to kind of keep this mine closed for some reason. He doesn't know why, but he's getting paid a lot to do it, so he's doing it. And, he kind of repeats that over and over again. That he's not terribly sure why, but he knows that the Treshies are kind of paying for it. And eventually they convince him to let them go down into the mine and investigate, where they're met with a egg-shaped automaton sort of being the one to spin the gears of this elevator, this cage. They begin to descend down into darkness for a while. Imogen having her classic, it seems to be some sort of heights mechanical motion sickness that she has. I can't tell which it is. I think it's heights. She has a fear of falling quite a bit. Eventually they make it down to the bottom. They're all crammed in this cage until they're able to get out. Chetney kind of moves up ahead to see what's going on, and eventually the road splits, but he sees a ton of Shade Creepers coming at them. So they get into a fight with these Shade Creepers. I don't break down combat. There's so much that goes into it. It was I think this combat was near 2 hours long, maybe a little bit over. So lots to break down. Important things. No one went down. Chetney and Orym got pretty messed up. Imogen cast some sort of like her dream lightning vortex sort of thing, but it was purple instead of red. Laudna, in my favorite interaction, started casting a metric fuck ton of Eldritch Blasts out of each hand. She was able to do it as a bonus action because of Quick Spell, which was cool. I really like that. I think it was cool. But she misses all of them, so the next time she does it, she uses Pate, her friggin' rat, and it works, and I love it. It's great. They kind of deal with these Shade Creepers, and there's some bigger ones during this combat as well. Four-armed, and they have some sort of mandibles on their face. Larger, able to hit harder, and have a little bit more health. Basic things about them for the purpose of skipping through combat, because there's a lot to break down in combat. But at the end of the day, no one went down. But the classic fighter took a ton of damage. Oh yes, and Ashton has some sort of time manipulation thing where it seems he's got a lot of these. I think he's rolling a d4, and he's getting different status effects to himself when he rages, which is fairly interesting. It adds another element to Barbarian, which in my opinion is one of the more simpler classes. So it's very nice to see something for a guy, Talzin, who is very creative and very interesting in the way he does things. So seeing him be able to take a boring thing like a barbarian with Matt's help and create something as interesting as Ashton, kudos to them. They've done an amazing job with Ashton. Following that, oh right, time dilation with his abilities, he kind of leaves. It's kind of like the Echo Knight, I gathered a little bit, where he like leaves like a after image effect of himself, and like it causes disadvantage on attacks by what I gathered. Yeah, very cool. They finish up this combat. Chetney decides he's going to go invisible and sneak ahead, where he goes about 100, I think it was 100 feet up, it might have been 200 feet up, and sees Lady Emoth emerge from a cocoon, and she's got like breathing holes in the back of her shoulders and nasty visuals. Matt is doing a fantastic job in creeping me out and Travis out, because I feel like that's his goal. But he sneaks back. They come up with a plan to sort of conga line their way up toward this group of Shea Creepers and Lady Emoth. So they're able to do that, kind of. Most of them rolled rather poorly on their stealth checks. So Chetney, being invisible, and Gus, who's able to sneak his way up as well, they hatch a plan where Chetney is going to run past, because Lady Emoth can kind of smell him, and he's going to distract them, kind of group up all of them, including Lady Emoth, and Gus is going to just blast them with his fire explosion. I'm not sure if it's fireball or what, but some sort of fiery magic attack. And then in the confusion, her name is escaping me all of a sudden. Ollie, my dog's barking, excuse that. Ollie is going to, take some sort of what seems to be some sort of like trap crystal and throw it at Emon and kind of trap her and take her back, because that's the goal. But as Chetney runs through the room, he notices that Lady Emoth's not there. Explosion goes off. The rest of them kind of come in through the room, kill off whatever Shea Creepers. Chetney continues to sneak down into another path where he sees Lady Emoth standing there, and above her, coming down toward her, is a massive slug creature with a human torso and a human face, kind of. Jagged teeth, sunken eyes, no nose, very similar to the Nightmare King. But she also has some sort of bone crown on her head and very long lion-like mane with black, greasy hair. And that's where they kind of ended it, because it seems like they're going to go into combat right away. And immediately after the session ended, they kind of started talking about what they had left to use against this creature, because Matt described it as a 60-foot long slug. That is fucking gigantic. Literally. I think it might actually be a gigantic mini if we get to see it. I hope we do, because it'll be cool. But yeah, fantastic episode. I thought it was great. Different from the last two, very politic heavy, if you will. And a lot more combat than we got last time. I don't think actually it was a whole lot more, but more characters got to be involved in combat, which was fun. So, yeah. I enjoyed this episode. It's weird not seeing Dorian. I think that's my takeaway, is I got so used to Dorian that it's kind of weird. But I'll get used to him not being there. By the end of the episode, I actually got a little used to him not being there to kind of bounce off people. And it's kind of making other characters bounce off each other, like I said earlier, with Orym kind of reaching out to Ashton a bit more. Which is something I noticed throughout the episode, that he kind of leaned toward Ashton. Might be because they're sitting next to each other on the table, who knows. But at the end of the day, it's all fun, it's all good. Miss Dorian, but he will be back in EXU, so that's good. Yeah, nothing else to say. Very fun episode. Can't wait for next week's, and I hope this fight is sick. They still have a ton of resources left too, so hopefully it doesn't go too bad for them. Anyway, that'll be me. Peace.